talking about crime, sin, guilt, punishment, and the atonement of social sanction. A 17th century American classic novel was created by Nathaniel Hawthorne. This novel depicts not only the role of women in social change, but also their rights and their relationship with men in the rigid moral climate of New England at that time. This novel is also the first story to introduce the first true heroine in American fiction. Even though it carries a bold and controversial theme, this novel is timeless in showing the moral truth inherent in human affairs that is timeless. This Scarlet story tells about a woman named Hester Prynne who was imprisoned for adultery. On one summer day, she and her adulterous baby were humiliated on a stage provided by New England society at that time to humiliate the mortal sinner. Hester Prynne was a British immigrant saved by her husband to go first and join the Puritan community in Boston. On the stage of his punishment, Hester, with a letter E bright red on her chest and witnesses scornful, reproachful, and judgmental looks from the local resident, were tried by a local official who demanded that she mention the name of the man who had also committed adultery with her. Her husband is an old man who has a physical disability. He is a scientist who during his trip to the New England apparently received additional medical knowledge from the Indians. Seeing his wife on the stage of punishment for the sin of adultery, while the wife was more willing to bear the disgrace and stains alone by insisting on not wanting to mention the name of the man who had committed the grave sin with her. It made the husband determined to find the man and intend to take revenge on both of them in his own way. The husband met Hester and the baby in prison under another name. As Hester continues to keep his mysterious main name, his husband forced Hester to also keep his identity a secret. He didn't force Hester to reveal the identity of the mysterious man because he was determined to find out of herself. Roger Chillingworth, the new identity of her ex-husband, later became a nightmare for Hester. Meanwhile, Hester, after being released from prison, lives alone with her little daughter, which she named Pearl, in a cabin that is isolated from the rest of the community. Hester's steadfastness in serving the punishment for her sin, which she seemed to have to endure for the rest of her life, wearing a fiery letter A embroidered on her chest, carrying her stain and disgrace at every step of her life, turned out to be starting to get sympathy from the surrounding community who had been so hard on her at first. Hester is not willing to be separated from her daughter, who is now 7 years old. As a young clergyman, he was highly venerated by the Puritan community there, but time still apparently had a stain of sin that eroded his physical and mental health day by day. Towards the end of the story, Hester devises a plan to escape with her mysterious man and build a new life with their little daughter, Pearl. They end up never being able to escape as they planned, but the mysterious man, who is Pearl's biological father, finally confesses his sin on the stage of punishment. Hypocrisy and the demand to be honest with reality are the main message of this novel. It is realized that humans will not escape from mistakes. Moral attitudes that are always honest with reality or what is happening are even more appreciated. That is what will heal humanity and nourish religious life. The author clearly conveys the importance of upholding the values of honesty, because the root of all the tragedies of his writing in the dishonesty that creates misery for the characters. Regarding the sins of the characters, it does not completely make the reader have the right to judge, because the true judgment belongs to the God, and only God has the right to punish. This is illustrated by Roger Chillingworth's character, who feels he has the right to punish and torture the sinner, but in fact, he is no better than the sinner himself. And in the eyes of heaven, according to the author's word, we are all sinners. Hawthorne, the writer, also conveys how thin the difference between love and hate is, and even according to him, maybe hate and love are basically the same.